Hi Bill and painters, this is Elisa here. I'm going to show you how I mix this milk paint and then also how I prepare the wood, and then I'm going to put 2 different levels of the milk paint mixture on so that then I'll blow it, dry it, I'll send it to you, and you'll have that as your standard. So as I suggested, you would order, and I'm sure you did, buttermilk milk paint and oyster white. And when I say I'm mixing 1:1 and then 3 parts water or 4 parts water, what I mean is essentially you just pick a scoop you like that's going to fit in your bucket. Scoop in, for example, 1 scoop of oyster, 1 scoop of buttermilk, and then you should add 3 parts of water, and the water should be warm. And what I use to mix it is this kind of thing, but that's why I'm suggesting when you're making a big vat of it, you're going to probably use your drill. And these are good, but the best kind is the plastic kind because milk paint loves to stick to metal. So you'll be happier if you get a plastic one, it's much cheaper. Alright, so the reason I like this kind of mixer over a blender is that it will not froth it up so much, because the milk paint wants to get frothy, and you don't like frothy milk paint because it doesn't make sense and it doesn't work well into the brush. So if you do end up using a blender, please just use a very low setting. So here, I'll show you how this looks once it's sat for 15 minutes. It's like a very, very thin milkshake. And this is 3:1. And it's not the way that milk paint is normally expected to be mixed. It's much thinner. But this is a wash, and this is an experiment that we are working with. And this is 4:1, and it's just even more watery, obviously. Okay, so after you mix your milk paint, I would suggest mixing it 3:1 for the moment. And then let it sit. It needs to sit for 15 minutes. And then this is how I'm going to show you how to prepare your wood stuff. Here I have 2 pieces of wood that Bill sent. This is one of the very darkest pieces that I got, and it's a good one for an example of what would happen on the super dark. And it's got a lot of the black, which I'm going to show you how to work with. And this is the very lightest piece, and it's kind of punky, and I have done some trials on it already, and I will talk about that after we get it all going on. But this punky, splintery, unhappy wood, I don't like so much, and maybe it'll get stabilized with the milk paint, or maybe not. But it's certainly much lighter, as you can see. And this will be a fair trial of how the milk paint with the same mix acts on 2 different types of wood. Okay, so the first thing I would do is take some 180 pre-cut sandpaper. I just like to make it into this 6-sided approach. However you do it is fine. And then we're not trying to sand away, we're trying to sand to smooth. So I'm just going to diagonally sand this like this. It's kind of helpful because it brings up the grain a little bit. Same thing here. This is the very black one. You want it to still have grain. You just don't want it to be, scratchy and like that. This, in fact, I'll show you right here. Look how much black is already coming off of there. Can you see that? This is just there. Same thing here. So once I get the sanding done with the grain, I just want to brush it. I'm trying to take all that extra black out. But not completely. So you can see right there, see how much black there is on there. It's a lot. That's why, Bill, I was suggesting if you guys have compressor in the shop, then you just blow it down. It will be so great. If you can't, that's okay. So, splinters. So here we are, we're ready. There's no sealer, nothing. We're going to put the milk paint on this wood. So I'm going to start with this super dark dye, and I'm going to put 3:1 on this portion, so we get 3:1, and then I'm going to put 4:1 on about this portion, and I'm going to leave this blank. So I use a latex brush partly because it's a lot easier to clean the latex brush than it is the natural bristle, but you can choose a brush that you like depending on how you're going to do it. Now, if it were a regular paint bucket, I'd put about this much in, I'd dip and tap tap, and that would be it. So here is 3:1, and you can see it's just like a really watery thing, but you have all these crevices, you have to tap it in, and you have to keep moving because you don't want to have lap marks. So you need to keep it wet and moving and go with the grain, but make sure you fill it all the way in. So it sort of ends up like that. And then at a certain point you just give up, basically. And sometimes I lay it off with a dry brush. And that's that. Now I'm going to put 4:1 next to it. Oops. And see what happens. This is my 4:1, tiny bit. And you'll notice I'm stirring this milk paint because it just, when it's this thin a wash, it just settles down to the bottom. So you have to, every so often stir it. This is wetter, more watery, okay? And you can see right away that it's more watery, doesn't seem to have much coverage. It'll still lighten the wood, but it just won't be as light, and it might be preferable. This is 4:1. What happens when you have a lot of water is the black that's in the wood, this black tannin, actually ends up coloring your milk paint. And so it makes it grayer. And this is just something that is going to be up to Mark and Joanna to decide what level they want. Okay, now again, I like back brushing because that solves my problem. I don't know if you can see this, but it's kind of appealing that you have these little crevices, but in fact, it's going to be a giveaway of paintiness. So we don't want it to look painty, so I call it babysitting. So if I was doing a 10-foot board, I'd do like 4 feet of it, and then I'd babysit, and then I'd do the other 4 feet, and then I'd lay it off. And then it would move, and I would just go 8 feet, over and over. Happy as can be. Okay, now this is just going to dry. We're going to set it right here and let it start drying. And like I said, when I'm in my note by email, at first it looks worse before it looks better. So don't get concerned if you have something like this. This is a test so that we can see if we want to go with 3:1 or 4:1. And I sort of sense that we're going to want 3:1 in the end. Now we have a super light board, and you can see it's much lighter. Here it is with 3:1, drier, it's already dry, and this is 4:1, already dry. So perhaps I'll just leave that one so you can work with it and ship it up to you. Now, I want to blow dry this a little bit. It takes quite a while for the actual color to come up at first. You think it's dry, and you think it's done, and you think it's as light as it's going to get, but sometimes within 4 hours it lightens another 10 to 15 or 20%. So, I guess that's just something you'll just get to be familiar with once you do, 10 boards, you feel more comfortable. And the boards are not trying to match, they're trying to all just be tenderly coated with this milk paint, and that'll be it. It's very stable and it dries very matte. So it looks very dry and, not painted. And I think that's good. So, even though this isn't fully dry yet, I think you might be able to see that this section here reads a little bit more green and it's more transparent. This section reads a little bit more yellow, and is less transparent. But nonetheless, you still have grain, and if you didn't have anything to compare it to, you just say it was old board, I think, which is what we want. We want an old board that looks soft gray, grayish. Okay, so one last thing I want to show you is that just in terms of trying to figure out how the color will look on the site, even though the site's not done yet, let us pretend this is the countertop, which is soapstone. And this is very similar to the soapstone. I'll take this other color away. So you can see that all of a sudden what doesn't look necessarily that light over here, when it gets up into anything dark, it's going to look light. And this is what we want. Mark and Joanna, I think, agree. We don't want this whole building with the heavy ceiling to look dark in the nighttime. So by having some dark, super dark elements like this, it will help this look light. Even if we have this one, it's light and looks pretty, and this black is speaking to the black that's in there. So then we can go even one step further and find out what our windows and doors will look like next to this wood. And I think it looks very pretty. And it's going to be hard for you to read this as a yes or no idea, Mark and Joanna. It just is showing you that there's a good strong contrast between the window and door. And I think it will be successful. So I'm not worried about this approach, and I like both of these. This is lighter, so maybe the preferred. And it's not quite dry yet. So I'll take a picture of it now, and I'll take it when it's fully dry, and then you'll have those side by side as well. And I think that's our lesson.